My 33 female, husband 35 male, played a fart prank on me at our wedding, leaving me absolutely humiliated. How do I recover from this? I knew it was coming. Yes, I have been hounding him to propose to me after 6 years of being together, and it looked like we were finally going to take a step forward in our relationship. Until our wedding day, and I haven't since stopped being upset and crying my eyes out. The day I was supposed to feel my most beautiful, I may have looked like a disgusting pig. After the wedding vows were done, we were escorted at the stage where there was a love seat. My husband asked me to sit first, and as I did, I heard a ripping sound of a fart, followed by howls of laughter with him teasing me. It was a prank. There was a fart machine that was loud enough for everyone to hear it. At first, I was in shock, then in denial, and was completely stunned with tears that I was trying to hold back. The event ended soon after with reception scheduled for tomorrow night. I invested so much, emotionally and materially, into making our wedding perfect, as my husband decided to give me lead on things as he's not a great planner. The perfect dress, the perfect makeup, venue, flowers, etc. Only for me to be mocked at and humiliated. I am currently at my own apartment and have refused to speak to my husband and contemplating an annulment. He says it was just a prank and has been begging me to come back. He also said he would make it up to me and help me get over it. And the slight chance it is, can someone convince me otherwise? We have way too much history together. Um, if you have to beg someone to propose to you, that person is probably not the one you should be marrying. Just word of advice. I wrote a note to my valedictorian that made her leave school with no consequences. When I was in high school, there was a girl at the top of our class. We'll call her Mai. Mai was known for being very quiet and timid, anxious and antisocial. She had long, bushy hair that reached pretty much her backside, and she always brought a messy stack of books and papers to each class, despite not needing them for anything. Everyone felt bad for her. She was seemingly incredibly intelligent, but crippled by anxiety. But one day, in a class we shared, I realized she was writing answers for a test on the desk and covering them with her hair. If you write on a desk in pencil, it can be easily wiped away with your hand, and that's exactly what she did after the exam. She was a cheater. I talked to another kid in our class, James, and he said, "Oh yeah, Mai always cheats. Every one of the students pretty much know that." She would apparently even write answers on the strewn paper in her desk pile. Nobody wanted to get someone like Mai in trouble, but frankly, as someone just outside the top 5 in my class, it made me livid that Mai could just cheat blatantly with everyone letting it slide, all the way into the valedictorian position. That makes a major difference for scholarships and everything, and we came from a pretty poor area. She was also an officer in the National Honor Society, and while I know that means nothing now, at the time I thought, wow, she has no honor. This is ridiculous. One day in math class, me and my friend Kevin shared with Mai that we had a substitute teacher who didn't really care how we spent the class period. So I wrote in a careful, bubbly print that was nothing like my typical handwriting a note to Mai, basically saying, "Hey, everyone knows you cheat, and if you don't knock it off, we'll be forced to tell the National Honor Society what you did." I don't think I really would have done anything with the note. Of course, the fact that I wrote it in different handwriting says differently, but Kevin was joking that he would give the note to Mai, and I was joking back. But to my shock, he did give it to Mai, but sneakily put it to the side of her messy desk. She noticed it eventually and must have read it. We had lunch next, and Mai was sobbing, literally losing it at her lunch table. The friends she sat with all encouraged her to go to the office about whatever happened, and she eventually did. I started to freak out because I never thought she'd react like that, and I was someone who never got in trouble. My mother would kill me if I did, so I was terrified of getting called up. I just wanted Mai to stop cheating. Towards the end of my next class, it happened. My science teacher said I was called to the office and I felt my soul leave my body. I went up and walked into the principal's office. Imagine my shock when he wanted to talk about something completely different. He heard from my ex's new girlfriend that I was going to beat her up, which was wildly untrue. We both laughed about it and he said he didn't think that was true but had to check. Then he just asked casually, "Before you go, do you have any idea what happened in your math class earlier?" I simply said no idea and tried to be convincing. He said okay and I walked back to class. Later that day, I realized some of Mai's lunch table group seemed angry with me. Mai had gone home early, but her friends seemed ready to fight me based on the looks I was being given. I was so anxious that they knew I had written the note. At the very end of the day, I walked into the office and asked the vice principal if I could speak with the principal. He said the principal had already left for the day. I straight up said, "I wrote the note to Mai. It was me. I lied to the principal earlier." My VP just said, "Okay, I'll tell him tomorrow." And that was the last I ever heard of the situation. I never got into trouble. Mai never returned to regular classes. She was removed from the school's ranking, although I recall her attending graduation and getting a diploma. Her mother was a teacher in our school system, so maybe that had something to do with it. Who knows? I graduated within the top 5 and it absolutely helped me get better scholarships. Am I wrong for getting my sister-in-law arrested on her wedding day? I, 24 female, and my husband, 24 male, have 3 dogs, 2 corgis and a Pomeranian. I rescued them from a puppy mill that was shut down about 6 months ago. They were all in horrible condition and had numerous medical issues. They are very friendly dogs and have adjusted to their new lives extremely well. My now sister-in-law, Amy, has met them a few times before the events occurred. Amy said she wanted them to be her ring bearer and flower girls for her wedding. Amy and I don't get along at all. She has said numerous hurtful and cruel things about me to my family and really anybody who will listen. I am not even invited to the wedding as I would ruin the vibe. What? How are you not invited to your own sister-in-law's wedding, but she wants your dogs? I told her she would not be using my dogs for her wedding for multiple reasons, including me not being invited, and they were all having surgery a few days prior. They were all getting spayed as well as dental work. She wasn't happy about being told no. Now, at the event that happened a couple of weeks ago, all of my dogs had their surgeries on a Thursday. The wedding was on a Sunday in the evening. My husband and I left the house to go run some errands Sunday morning, and the dogs were home asleep. I got a notification on my phone about motion at my back door. I check it, and it is Amy opening the door and walking into the house. Oh my God, please tell me she don't steal your dogs. Oh my God. I started panicking and telling my husband we need to leave now and go back to the house. I show him the video and he agrees. I start calling my brother and demanding for him to get his wife out of my house, and if she leaves with my dogs, I will call the police. He hung up on me. I got home and all of my dogs are gone and their cones were left in their crates. I called the police for theft and breaking and entering. The police arrived and I showed them the video of her getting into our house and leaving with the dogs. I told them where her venue was as I had seen a copy of the invitation. The police made it to the venue and were able to locate all of my dogs. One had opened her stitches and was bleeding from the wound. My husband rushed her to the emergency vet to get the stitches closed. Amy was arrested in the middle of getting ready for her wedding and has been charged with a Class 1 felony and a few misdemeanors. Now everybody is saying I ruined the wedding and I overreacted to the entire situation. I'm also being told that I need to pay them back for the wedding since it never happened. I'm refusing to pay anybody back as well as drop the charges.
Am I the asshole for bringing a raccoon to my sister's wedding?
Nice.
So this happened last weekend and I'm still getting angry texts from my family. So let me explain. I have a pet raccoon named Pebble. He is very friendly and well trained, and I love him like a son. He goes everywhere with me, and he has his own harness and leash. He is also vaccinated and has all the necessary papers. I was invited to my sister's wedding, which was held at a fancy hotel. I asked her if I could bring Pebble. She said no. She said it was inappropriate and disrespectful to bring a wild animal to such an important event. She also said that some of the guests might be allergic or scared of him. I was hurt by her response, but I didn't want to argue with her. I decided to respect her wishes and leave Pebble at home with a friend. However, on the day of the wedding, my friend called me and said that he had an emergency and couldn't take care of Pebble.
Convenient.
I panicked. I didn't have anyone else who could watch Pebble, and I didn't want to leave him alone in my apartment. I also didn't want to miss my sister's wedding, so I decided to bring Pebble with me. I thought it wouldn't be a big deal. I put him on his harness and leash and put a bow tie on him to make him look more formal. I also brought some treats and toys to keep him entertained. I figured I could just sneak him in and keep him in a corner where he wouldn't bother anyone. Boy, was I wrong. As soon as I arrived at the hotel, people started noticing Pebble. Some of them thought he was cute and wanted to pet him, but others were horrified and disgusted. They started whispering and pointing at me and Pebble. Some of them even complained to the staff. My sister saw me and Pebble and freaked out. She came over to me and yelled at me for bringing him. She said I was selfish and irresponsible and that I should leave immediately.
Damn.
I tried to apologize and explain the situation, but she wouldn't listen. She told me to get out or she would call security. She also said that I was no longer her brother and that she never wanted to see me or Pebble again. I was shocked and hurt by her reaction. I felt like she was overreacting and being unreasonable. Pebble didn't do anything wrong. He was just sitting quietly in his harness looking adorable. He didn't bite anyone or make a mess or cause any trouble. I decided to leave with Pebble, but not before telling my sister that she was being a bridezilla and that she owed me an apology. I also told her that Pebble was more family to me than she ever was. Now, my family is mad at me. They say I was rude and disrespectful to my sister and that I should have left Pebble at home or found another solution. They say I should apologize to my sister and beg for her forgiveness. but I don't think I did anything wrong. I think my sister was being unfair and cruel to me and Pebble. I think she should apologize to me for treating me like dirt. So, am I the asshole?
I just want to say, first off, Pebble was not involved in any of this.
Pebble
There's
is
no
an
blame on
innocent
Pebble, and I
victim.
really want to see the picture with the bow tie.
Am I wrong for telling my wife that she does need to knock on my separate bedroom door before she enters? About a year ago, my 44 male wife, 38 female suggested us getting separate bedrooms. She had trouble sleeping and it would allow us to have our own privacy. I was initially not a big fan of the idea because I thought it would affect our relationship and our connection. But after talking about it for a few months, I reluctantly agreed. She also suggested we should respect each other's privacy by knocking on each other's door before entering. So for about a year now, we've had our own bedrooms, and to my surprise, I've been enjoying it a lot. We still sleep together a few times a week, but do spend the majority of the night separate. I have really enjoyed the privacy and having the opportunity to unwind by myself without worrying about anything else. But my wife, on the other hand, doesn't seem to be enjoying it as much. She's actually started spending more nights with me in my bedroom, which is fine, but now she's acting like we don't have any agreements at all.